Conor McGregor, once hailed as one of the most charismatic, skilled, and marketable athletes in mixed martial arts, MMA, has seen his career descend into controversy, legal trouble, and self-destruction. McGregor's rise to fame was meteoric, from his humble beginnings in Ireland to becoming a global superstar and the first fighter in UFC history to hold two titles simultaneously. But success came with a price, and as McGregor's fame grew, so did the scandals, legal accusations, and unhinged behavior that have now overshadowed his athletic achievements. While McGregor was once celebrated for his bravado and larger-than-life persona, his journey over the past few years reveals the dangers of unchecked ego, entitlement, and the toxic culture of fame. Here's a deeper look at why Conor McGregor's downfall is a tragic example of success gone wrong and how the same traits that propelled him to the top are now pulling him down. One of the darkest and most damaging aspects of McGregor's downfall are the rape allegations that came to light in 2019. McGregor was accused of sexually assaulting a woman in a hotel room in Dublin, Ireland. Although the charges were dropped due to insufficient evidence, the damage to McGregor's reputation was already severe. The fact that the allegations were even made is a huge blow to someone who built their brand on being the cool, confident guy who had it all. The public began to question his true character, and even though McGregor denied all accusations, his personal behavior started to raise red flags. What makes this even more concerning is that McGregor has a history of questionable behavior. From his verbal abuse to his history of aggressive outbursts, McGregor's actions have often teetered on the edge of violence, and the rape accusation was the worst of them. To make matters worse, McGregor's lack of accountability in addressing these allegations only fueled the perception that he wasn't the upstanding champion he once claimed to be. Instead of taking responsibility, he dismissed the issue as another example of people trying to tear him down. This became a trend in his career: denial and deflection when things went wrong. If the rape allegations weren't enough, McGregor's infamous bar incident further solidified his descent into disgrace. In 2019, McGregor was filmed punching an elderly man in a bar in Dublin after the man refused to drink McGregor's proper number 12 whiskey. What should have been a simple, harmless disagreement turned into a violent attack that exposed McGregor's inability to control his temper. This wasn't some isolated outburst. This was McGregor attacking an innocent person in front of an audience. He wasn't the tough guy looking out for himself. He was just a bully. The attack was widely criticized, and McGregor was later investigated for assault. The fact that he didn't apologize or show remorse only added to his growing list of destructive actions. What's worse is that McGregor had already gained a reputation for his violent tendencies in and outside the ring. Remember his bus attack back in 2018, where McGregor threw a metal trolley through a bus window, injuring several people. The bar incident was just another example of McGregor thinking he was above the law, and once again he wasn't taking responsibility for it. Before the bar fight, McGregor's infamous bus attack at UFC 223 in 2018 set the stage for his pattern of violent outbursts. In a fit of rage over an altercation with Khabib Nurmagomedov, McGregor stormed into the loading dock and hurled a steel dolly through a bus window, injuring multiple people, including fellow fighter Michael Chiesa. This wasn't just an emotional outburst, it was a deliberate act of violence that put others in harm's way. McGregor's behavior here was more than just a tantrum. It was carelessness and disregard for the safety of others. What could have been a simple dispute between fighters was escalated by McGregor's complete lack of impulse control. And instead of apologizing for the consequences of his actions, McGregor chose to play the victim, downplaying the incident and trying to deflect blame. The bus attack was a glaring indication of McGregor's growing instability, and it revealed that his fame and ego were clouding his better judgment. This act of aggression was a precursor to the downward spiral that would follow. As McGregor's career progressed, so did his public tantrums. The man who once embraced trash talk as part of his brand turned into someone who couldn't handle any form of criticism. Every time he lost, he made excuses. Every time someone challenged his success, he lashed out. Whether it was in interviews, on Twitter, or during press conferences, McGregor's inability to accept any form of critique became more and more evident. Take, for example, the aftermath of his loss to Dustin Poirier in 2021. Instead of acknowledging that Poirier was the better fighter that night, McGregor turned into a toxic force on social media, launching a series of insults and low blows, including attacking Poirier's wife. His behavior was so erratic and childish that even his fans began to question whether McGregor was still the fighter they once supported, or whether he had turned into a narcissistic shell of his former self. It wasn't just the fight with Poirier. McGregor had a pattern of throwing tantrums when things didn't go his way. When he didn't win, he didn't learn or grow. He deflected and attacked. McGregor's ego couldn't handle being humbled, and it led to his behavior becoming more erratic and unprofessional. While McGregor was busy attacking people in bars and throwing punches in press conferences, he was also getting involved in shady business practices. One of his most famous ventures, Proper No. 12 whiskey, was marketed as his self-made success, but many have questioned the actual value of the brand. Despite McGregor's claims that Proper No. 12 was a massive success, there's been evidence that suggests the whiskey line wasn't as profitable as it seemed. Some experts claim that McGregor inflated sales figures to make the brand appear more successful than it really was, while others suggest that his investors and team were the ones actually pulling the strings behind the scenes. In fact, it's been reported that McGregor sold a majority stake of the brand to a major beverage company for a reported $600 million. A move that many see as a cash grab. Instead of proving himself as a successful entrepreneur, McGregor's whiskey venture appears to have been about using his fame to cash in on a trend, a quick financial win rather than a long-term commitment to building something sustainable. The most painful part of McGregor's downfall is his mental collapse. The brash, cocky personality that once captivated millions has turned into something much darker, a man who can't handle success, failure, or the inevitable aging of his career. As McGregor's career in the UFC began to stagnate, his mental state deteriorated, and his public outbursts, his tweets, his tirades at press conferences, his online rants are a reflection of someone who is losing touch with reality. It's clear that McGregor is a man who can't reconcile his past with his present. The fighter who was once adored has now become a laughingstock, a parody of himself. Instead of gracefully transitioning into retirement or focusing on constructive business ventures, McGregor has clung to his persona, a persona that no longer matches the man he has become. His tantrums and inability to grow are a sign of someone who's mentally stuck in the past. McGregor may still be physically capable of competing, but mentally, he's nowhere near the fighter he used to be. Conor McGregor's reputation has gone from hero to villain in record time. He was once the beloved UFC champion, a fighter who talked a big game and backed it up with his skills in the ring. Now he's the guy who can't keep his hands to himself and can't take a loss gracefully. Every scandal, every meltdown, every failed business venture adds another layer to the toxic image he's built for himself. From the rape accusations to hitting people in bars and the scammy business ventures, McGregor's public image has gone from a rags to riches story to a cautionary tale about fame and ego gone wrong. The man who once inspired millions now inspires disgust and skepticism. His name has become synonymous with controversy, and his once loyal fan base is shrinking. He's no longer the hero, he's the villain of his own story. The question remains, can Conor McGregor ever redeem himself? The damage to his reputation is severe. His legal troubles, violent outbursts, and personal issues have taken a huge toll. But McGregor's story isn't entirely over. While he may not be the fighter he once was, he still has the ability to rebuild his brand, provided he acknowledges his flaws and takes responsibility for his actions. The road to redemption will not be easy, and McGregor will have to do more than just apologize. He'll need to show that he's capable of real change, but if he continues to hold on to his ego, blame others, and act like the world owes him something, his fall from grace will be complete, and he'll be remembered as a cautionary tale of how even the greatest champions can be destroyed by their own flaws. The downfall of Conor McGregor is a complex tale of ego, entitlement, and self-destruction. He had everything: fame, fortune, a promising future in and out of the octagon. But the mental toll of fame, combined with the lack of accountability and constant denial, led to his dramatic fall from grace. The man who once stood at the top of the world is now a shadow of himself, broken by his own actions, with a reputation tarnished beyond repair. McGregor's story is a reminder that success isn't just about winning titles. It's about the ability to manage yourself, stay grounded, and learn from your mistakes. For McGregor, the real fight may not be in the octagon anymore, it's in overcoming the wreckage of his own making.